Yo, what is good, YouTube? Swiftly here back with another episode of Rare Builds in NBA 2K26. And for today's video, I'm bringing you guys a physical clamp thief, which just sounds absolutely insane. With that being said, let's jump right into the build. So I made this build at PG 6'6", and I went 230 on the weight. Wingspan, honestly, you can play around with it, but personally, I would go high on the wingspan just because it is a clamp thief. So you want higher defense, you want better contest and stuff like that. But you can play around with the wingspan, and if you want to lower it just a little bit, just so that you can get a little bit better shooting, you can do that. But if you look at the attributes that you're gonna get at 6'6" with a 7-foot wingspan, you're still gonna have an 88 midi. You're still gonna be able to get an 83 three ball if you really want it. You're still gonna have the opportunity to get a high layup, high drive and dunk. So of course you could tweak these things to your liking and whatnot. This is just a template to get the name. But obviously there's certain stats that you obviously have to have. But starting off, we're going to start off with the physicals actually, and we're going with a 90 speed. We're going with an 85 agility, and then we're also going to have an 82 strength because we're going to want to have pretty good physicals. And then we're also going to have a 70 vert. You're going to want to have a good physicals to get this name because obviously it's called a physical clamp thief, which means you're going to have really good physicals. You're not going to have, low speed, low agility, low strength, and thinking you're going to get the name physical clamp thief. You're obviously going to have to put those physicals up for this build. For rebounding, we do have a 60 D board and a 70 O board, just so that we can be a little bit better on the rebounding side of things as well too. Because we're gonna have the speed and agility and vert, I like to put an O board on a build like that just because we'll be able to sneak in there and grab those little sneaky rebounds, those loose rebounds, long rebounds and whatnot. You'll be able to have the speed to get to those, especially at 6'6", with that speed and agility and the vertical. You don't need crazy rebounding stats. And then also, I've noticed that there are a lot of boards to be had this year because of the 7'4", 7'3". All of these centers having, damn near a 93 ball at 7'3", 7'4". There's a lot of centers, just camping the three, and with the contest being the way it is, people can't leave them open. So a lot of times the center is not down there to get the rebound, so that leaves that rebound open for other positions to go down there and grab boards like PGs, shooting guards, small forwards, etc. So yeah, like having a little bit of rebound on there. For defense, we're going with the 70 interior defense because remember, you are going to be PG, and a lot of these PGs are going 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", with max wingspan, and then a 70 interior defense is going to make it very, very hard to score on you when they try to rim run. If they can't get their shot off because we're going to have high perimeter, then they're going to try to rim run you, and with the 70 interior defense, odds are they're not going to be able to just rim run you, bro. You're going to be taller, and you're gonna have decent interior defense. Now, I went 97 on the perimeter defense. Obviously, you could probably lower this just a little bit, like 95, I think, and still get the name. But I went 97, and then I went 85 on the steal, and then we went all the way up to a 74 on the block. So I just want to pull this up so you can see the badges that you're getting: high flying denier, paint patroller, interceptor, glove. All Hall of Fame badges pretty much: challenger, on-ball menace, pick dodger, off-ball pest, silver movable enforcer, and worst case scenario, you throw a +1 or +2 on that for gold or Hall of Fame if you need it, or you just throw your cap breaker on strength. +3 will get you 85 strength, which is what you need for gold and movable enforcer, and then you +1 it that way to get Hall of Fame if you really feel like you need Hall of Fame and movable enforcer, which personally I have silver on a 6'4" guard with a 73 strength, and it does its job against most guards, most PGs, even against some 6'8", because a lot of these 6'8" are going low weight so that they're quicker at 6'8", so they don't have the strength to like really body up against you and move you, so they don't have strong handle. And then I have a movable enforcer, I'm just straight up stonewalling them. So again, silver will work in most cases, but especially because you're going to be bigger than them, taller than them and whatnot. But Of course, if you want to bolster that down, like I said, you can +1 it, +2 it, or you could just throw 3 cap breakers on your strength, and then boom, you got an 85 for for gold, and then you could +1 or +2 for Hall of Fame or even Legend if you want to go crazy with it. Not that I would recommend that, but if you did want to go crazy, you can do that. And then for the playmaking, we do have a 71 on the pass accuracy, which is going to get us bronze versatile visionary. Is going to give us bronze break starter and silver dimer to help guys hit those shots. 70 ball handle, and then 75 speed with ball with silver lightning launch. And then for our shooting, we're looking at 73 on the midi, and we're looking at an 83 maxed out 3 ball. So you are going to hit that threshold for bronze limitless range, which is going to be nice. Got bronze Deadeye, bronze limitless, bronze shifty, and then silver set shot. Of course, you have access to tons of max +1s and max +2s. You have the crew max +1s. You have the season pass max +1s. You have the season pass max +2s, and then you also have the max +1 and max +2 for your build specialization. So if you choose to go shooting, you can always use that to get your badges much higher. You could always use the max +2s that you get from the season pass. So you could throw shifty shooter to gold, set shot to Hall of Fame. And then select build specialization shooting, and then now you can go silver limitless range and gold Deadeye. Now you're looking at going from a decent shooter to being able to be a high level efficient shooter with a build like this, because you're going to have the max +1s and max +2s to get those badges up. Moving on though to finishing, we're looking at a 63 on the close shot, 63 on the layup. Nothing really special here. And then we do have a decent driving dunk with an 80 on the driving dunk, and then the rest I put into standing dunk and post control. And then I forgot about the free throw. We do have a little bit of free throw on this build at 62, which isn't much, but this build isn't really a crazy finishing build. We're gonna have an 80 driving dunk, which is enough for bronze posterizer gold aerial wizard. But I've noticed people aren't really a fan of throwing alley-oops with the way that the timing for alley-oops have gone now. So you don't really see many people throwing oops anymore. So we're not gonna really worry too much about free throw. And then worst case scenario, you throw a cap breaker on there, you're bound to get +7 or +8 or +10 or something crazy like that with the 62 free throw. So this is what the build looks like all around. Pretty decent. I like the physicals. I like the rebounding on it, especially for a taller guard. I like the defense, especially, and the shooting, of course, going over the cap breakers and whatnot. The only real weakness this build has to me is the playmaking. You don't really have crazy playmaking, but this is more so like a lock build. It's a physical clamp thief. You're here to lock down and play defense. You can still run the offense if you want to use some max +1s on like versatile visionary and diamond stuff. You can do that, but this is more so just a build to negate what other people are doing on defense. And then of course you see our shades up. We see Jalen Suggs, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Ron Harper. Our go-to badges: Challenger Hall of Fame, Off-Ball Pass Hall of Fame, On-Ball Menace Hall of Fame. Top attributes: perimeter defense, speed, and steal. Strengths is it refuses to get beat defensively. Speed is game-changing, elite at reading passes, plants and redirects instantly. Weaknesses is unable to convert in traffic, which we know that to not really be true because you do have an 80 driving dunk, 50 standing dunk. And then it says dribbling issues limit offensive productions, which you do have a 70 ball handle, but that's good enough for pro animation. So there you have it. This is my physical clamp thief build. Now, obviously, I told you guys you can use your cap breakers on, multiple things, perimeter defense, for better on-ball menace and pick dodger, cap breaker on strength for golden movable enforcer, cap breaker on ball handle, cap breaker on, your driving dunk or whatever as well, because you do have an 80 driving dunk, so you can get higher, 85, 87, somewhere around there, I believe. But this build can also get, pro and elite alley-oop dunk packages, pro contact alley-oop dunks, and pro contact dunks off 1 and 2 as well too. If you, obviously raise the vertical and drive and dunk. So there's also that. But again, this has been my physical clamp thief build. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to drop a like, comment, and subscribe for more NBA 2K26 content. And of course, more rare builds like this. I'm out. Catch you in the next one. Peace.